to get water. You go down the southern part of the Everglades and what have you, down in those cities down there, there's no water, no wells, it's all salt water. Or go to the dry Tortugas, which is a fort, no water. That's all you get is rain spout and gutter drainage, which is a lot more rain down there than most places. It's not good. Everything you drink, you gotta boil. Just like if you run the water through an air conditioner, all the vermin and varmints is in that air conditioner, you don't want to drink it unless you boil it.
Straining it might help too.
Well, the straining helps, that gets the
Gets
wiggly
the
ones
protein
out.
out.
Yeah, it gets the wiggly ones out.
Talking about protein. Everything, rice, everything that you got over there in Okinawa had protein in it.
Yes.
And so it's like, I went to this lady's house for dinner, my husband and I did, and I said, and she's like, checked with the doctor, he said, that's just protein, don't worry about it.
There you go.
Not in my rice, thank you very much.
In those kinds of situations, you gotta have a sense of humor. You just have to.
Yeah, but at a given point, you lose it. When the temperature's 90 to 95, the humidity's 90 to 95, you're only allowed
Been there a few times.
you're only allowed a shower about every 3 days because the amount of water.
All right, we
You're allowed to
are
have.
back. It is 1:30, and our, looks like our 1:30 is right on time. Montana Business Assistance Connection, Sidewalks, and CTAP.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We now have a new executive director with Montana Business Assistance Connection who wanted to be here today and had another meeting that came up so he couldn't. So I'm filling in. And what I'll hand you here is a little bit of information and background on Community Transportation Enhancement Program.
Brian, can I get another one of those for Elaine?
Yes.
Thank you.
And this is a little bit of a funny layout on this, but what Community Transportation Enhancement Program is called CTEP. That is a program that is monitored and developed and managed by the Department of Transportation in the state of Montana. These are the funds that we use to rebuild the sidewalks on the first 3 blocks of Broadway. Out here, we did a bit of a walking path out to Mostad Lane going south, and the trail that goes out to the Indian Creek Ponds to the north. So these funds have been used in Broadwater County and Townsend several times in the past. Historically, each community would be given a certain amount of money per person each year, and then a community would basically bank that funds until they have a project that they would want to do. These types of funds are used for sidewalks, trails, some historic preservation, and some beautification. The federal government is now replacing these funds with something called transportation alternatives moving forward. The state of Montana is going to go to the new program and start phasing out the CTEP funds. What that means is if by September 6th and then the 15th of this year, a county or a city can only hold over a certain amount of funds, or they will actually, it's kind of a use it or lose it over a certain amount. Right now, Broadwater County is sitting on about $5,000 that if they don't have a project applied for by mid-September, they have the risk of losing. And then if we don't apply for any and all of it by the end of basically the summer of next year, and all of it will go back to the state funds, to the state and through DOT, and they would then use it in other locations. So I went and talked to the city council 3 weeks ago or so to see if they still have interest in continuing on sidewalk projects in Broadwater County for their amount of allocation right now, which is about $40,000. Broadwater County has $65,200 available, with 5,000 potentially at risk to be lost. The city, and in their, basically their long-term planning, they would like to see at least ADA ramps placed on the street corners for the 4th block and the 5th block of Townsend, which would include the water tower park in front of this building. And the State Bank actually has a ADA ramp in front of theirs, but next to Matt West building there is not. And then there is not appropriate ADA compliance ramps in front of the old Circle K to me, what is it now? Burt's Hardware, and then the old Grover facility. So those are very viable projects. Right now, the city would be very interested in partnering with the county to continue to use these funds to continue the sidewalk replacement and potentially put in a application for transportation alternative money to actually do it all at one time so that they could basically redo all of the sidewalks basically out to the end of this building, and then a couple of the worst side streets for the first half a block. And that's what the map on the inside is referring to, is the sidewalks that they see as high priorities are the one that's in front of this building and the one in front of Burt's Hardware. They have some substantial breakup in those, on those sidewalks. The two sidewalks on the south side, the sidewalks are not in that bad a shape, but they do see some ADA compliant issues that they would like to see. Now the side streets, they have basically 5, 6 that they're very concerned with. One of them is in adjoining your parking lot here next door, the old Grover building. That first half of that block from Broadway to the alleyway is in quite bad shape. Same thing down next to the old Francisco's building on, which would be Spruce. That first half a block from Broadway to the alleyway is in pretty sad shape right now. We've got basically the 4x4 steel wiring is starting to become exposed in the sidewalk. And then both sides of Pine Street, the first half a block is in pretty sad shape. In addition, the school has come to the city asking for some improvements to basically move traffic back and forth on, that would be 2nd Street in front of the school area. They'd like to have a divided separator on the traffic going each direction to make it more safe for the kids in that area. I've got a meeting with the superintendent tomorrow to talk about what their concerns are. Robert Petcham Associates has done some preliminary drawings and some costing for that right now for the city. Those types of projects could be covered in this transportation alternatives program that is available right now. Right now, basically, the city wants me to progress forward on this. The question that I have right now to the county commission is, are you interested in a partnering for a potential application for a CTEP project with anything that we couldn't cover in the grant to be added to a transportation alternatives application? Now, costing on this, these types of programs are a 86% state, 14% local government match. And the local government, it can be either directly from the government or from some entity that flows through. In the past, we have used some community foundation money for these types of things also. So you may have multiple partners. The city would be very interested also in partnering with you on this. And I think right now, my question to you as a commission is, are you interested in an application for this year for these funds to avoid losing some? And would you want to partner with the city on a transportation alternative project? If you do, what we would probably do is hold a public hearing in the near future, looking to make sure that we have looked at all of other potential projects and try to prioritize that. Department of Transportation does like to see public hearings and getting some other input. There have been some concerns for traffic calming at the very east end of Broadway, down by the baseball fields and the tennis courts. Traffic as it comes in from the east into town exceeds the 45-mile-an-hour speed limit in there quite often. So there has been some concerns about that. Whether that would be included, at this point, probably would not definitively be included, but that could be one of the things that would come up. Before an application would be put in, there would have to be signatures from the county also. So if it's a project that you don't see interest in, we would not have to move forward with it. But right now, I'm just wanting to see if you have interest in partnering with the city on this type of project.
Brian, can you speak to the history of the county and the city partnering together on similar projects?
So for the first 3 blocks, that was done in 2007. That was a partnering, basically consuming all of the funds that were available for the county and the city to do the ADA ramps on the first 3 blocks and basically 4 300-foot segments of sidewalks. That was a partnership. The county was the lead agency on that one going forward. Then you partnered with the city on the Highway South project. So from Corky Roberts' building going south, they added on about 10 feet of roadway to the east side of Highway 287 with striping and some rumble strips. And in that case, it was a city-led application. The county basically gave funds to the city out of your county allocation so they could complete that also. They consumed all of theirs. They needed a little bit of money left over, and those were allocated out of the county and the city so that project could be done. Anything else?
Any questions, Franklin?
Well, where those ramps are, right, and doing the speed coming in over here. The rest of it, I'd have to see a lot more information on.
Okay. What was it, 3 years ago, 2011, the city ended up with some additional funds that they got through the state, and they were able to put in new sidewalks, basically from where we had ended, which were the ADA corners. They then filled in and did curb, gutter, and sidewalks. It's a 10-foot wide sidewalk. They defined a cross-section of what the sidewalk should look like. The engineering firm basically stated we needed to go down 20 inches, remove material, put fabric in, and then bring filled material back in. And then, which was a very big difference between RPA and Staley Engineering. RPA made sure that we put fabric, basically fiberglass, in that Portland, in the cement that came back in, which has shown to be a lot better in our soils around here, removing more material and getting it, the sidewalks have actually done much better in that new section. Difference between engineering firms, Hutches understand how much clay that we have in our soils here in the city of Townsend and how many much expanding soils we have. I think really at this point, I think the question would be is, would you be at least interested in us proceeding to see what the total project would look like and then come back to you in a couple of weeks to actually show what the scope could be for an application?
Well, yeah, and maybe 2 or 3 different alternatives.
Exactly. Typically, that's what we do, and again, the CTEP is money that is already allocated. What we'll want to do is maximize those because they're guaranteed us at this point. The transportation alternatives funds are on basically not a first come, first served, but it's on a judging basis. So we cannot guarantee that those would actually be allotted to us out of this program. So what we would want to do is hit the high points first, and there will be probably multiple options that we would look at. So I'm guessing we'll probably have 5 or 6 different sub-segments, and prioritize which ones would be guaranteed to be completed with CTEP, and then transportation alternatives would be a application for, and whether we get those or not, then it would go from there. Now, one way or the other, the CTEP funds going forward, my guess is with an application now, it has to go through the state review, then the feds review it, comes back to the state, then to us as the community, and then you would go out for bidding. And there's a likelihood that this would show up in your 2014-2015 year budget, would be my guess. I wouldn't imagine we would actually probably we may have go to bid, but to actually let the bid would probably be after the rodeo next year. So, for budgeting reasons, that 14% match would probably come in next year's budget, not the one that you're working on today. But definitely we would be breaking it out into multiple segments, just because we have two different funding mechanisms, and we can, to get the assistance to prioritize what people see as the most important is definitely why we would want to have a public hearing.
One of the issues we have with this are sidewalks that have got to get some attention. The public has been clamoring for it. It's something I hear every time I go to the city council meetings. We have some dangerous sidewalks with huge cracks in them. Specifically, I'm talking on the other side of Oak Street.
And that's typically, you do your ADA ramps in the corners, and you'll run 10 feet, anywhere from 8 to 10 feet in both directions, which just the ADA ramps in that corner alone would substantially improve the safety of that. But you do have a pretty substantial cracking where the curb cut comes into the parking lot as it goes towards the MSU extension, the ambulance building. So that first, what would it be, 3 lots, probably 75 feet, are in pretty rough shape right now.
So the question is, do we use a CTAP funding mechanism, or do we let it go, not do anything with it, lose it, and then pay for it with taxpayer dollars? So I personally would like to see some proposals, some numbers, and let the city know that we are interested in, again, partnering. We've had good experience, we have a good working relationship with the city. Do you have a problem with that, Franklin?
No, I would go ahead with such proposals and stuff. Well, the way I understood it, if we don't get this in time, we're only gonna lose 5,000 when we have sentence.
Exactly.
So
So
we'll
really,
rush on it.
yeah, I mean, if we can, it would be nice. I mean, if it's a clear cut, that we can get an application in. Now, the transportation alternatives funds, those only come around every 2 years. So if we don't have an application in now, it'll be a 2-year span before we can do it again. Again, that's the way grants programs work, is you have to be looking forward and plan for them. So, if that does work, then what I'll do is I'll try to set up a public hearing very quickly, try to get some of the key players. Again, I'm gonna be speaking with the superintendent of schools tomorrow. She has some real concerns, which really the city has some real issues with, because it's a pretty big change that she's requesting, and it's gonna really create some heartburn for their budget. These types of, the transportation alternative funds would make that a lot easier for them. So they're very interested in that application.
You know, if they could be a partner too on the other projects, kind of a, you know, we'll help them on theirs if they'll help on the others. When you think about the people who use our sidewalks, by and large, they are kids walking or biking
Yes.
to school.
I can bring that up with the superintendent tomorrow.
Please.
Just see what type of funds they may have.
That would be great.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm worried about our elderly tripping on specifically the sidewalk that's just kitty corner from the hospital, which is across Oak Street. And I'm worried about our kids. The last thing we want is an accident with a kid on the bike or kids playing on the sidewalks.
We did have someone hit with one of those mobility carts out here, and actually in front of this building 3 years ago. Whether a proper ADA ramps would have solved it, it probably would have helped. Right now, our what little ramps we have are only going across the side streets, not across Broadway. And that's where the cart was going, was across Broadway, so she had pulled out into Oak Street to go across. And the driver that was turning did not recognize that she was turning to go back into the street and clipped. Luckily, nobody got hurt in that, but that is the reason why ADA ramps are going in both directions now, and they're required that way. Well, if that's okay with everybody, I'll continue at least with the information. What I'll do is I'll bring some more specifics to you, Franklin, directly, so you can kind of see what works.
And the different areas, the most problem areas in the.
Yes, prioritizing, and again, right now, we've been working with Tim quite a bit with the city. He sees his very specific sidewalks that are a problem with him, and they're starting to create some potential issues with some of his streets, his new streets in some spots. So, one specifically is there at Lundy's building, the old Lundy's building, is creating some real heartburn. The curb is actually falling away from the building into the street, creating some real heartburn. And then the one last thing I would like to actually bring up, if you have a moment, I just wanted to bring up that Senator Baucus and Tester introduced a bill for the withdrawal of the limestone hills from BLM to the Department of Defense, the Army. I just wanted, that's one of those things, and Representative Daines has brought up a comparable bill in the House side. But I think my concern, and I wanted to make sure that you understand, is that Catherine Hammock, who is the Assistant Secretary of the Army, and Ned Farquhar, who is the Land and Minerals Manager for the Department of Interior, have some concerns with some language dealing with mining claims in there. So we're already starting to talk with the assistants to our senators and representatives. We're going to be contacting the BLM to find out what those concerns are. From our standpoint of economic development, we want to make sure that we don't end up having some snafu, and when the withdrawal goes through, we lose the ability for Greymont to actually continue to move forward and actually expand the facility going down that ridge line. So I just wanted to bring that up, they're highlighted in here for you. Just something to be aware of. I don't think it's, it's early enough that just came to a hearing at the end of, the last day of July, so we're in the first couple weeks. But I think by mid-September, we need to have some, at least understanding on what their concerns were. It looks like it's a misunderstanding, but I think we need to make sure that that is taken care of. So, if not, then
I have one question for you, and this is on behalf of Mr. Thompson.
yes.
The map on the side, I know you and Nicole worked on it years ago. Can you get another one for Dawn for
Yes.
Red Cross?
And what specifically are you looking for? Because there's a couple different ones we can get a hold of. Are the number of roads that we have on it, is that what your concern is?
The issue is the following. If and when we have a major event here in the county, I'm the only Red Cross person to cover Broadwater and Marr County.
Right.
That means I'm gonna be bringing folks in from Helena and from Bozeman. To cite an earlier example, if we have a conflagration at Cottonwood, they don't know where it is.
Exactly.
So I need a map that I can show them.
Okay,
You are here, you need to go there.
not a problem. That size, and do you want them laminated or not?
That size would be great.
Okay, I can get multiples through the state community technical assistance to
Two would be
print those.
fantastic.
Excellent, I'll get that. Okay,
Can you do Marr County too for Dawn?
yes, I can.
All right.
That's,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Hey, Franklin, if you would hand the other paperwork to me, I'll go ahead and make copies for the three of us.
This in here,
Yep. Thank you. All right, we are 6 minutes early, and the next appointment involves Nicole, who just stepped out. So we will wait just a few minutes for examining land survey and review possible decision. Actually, you know what, there's no reason we can't bring this forward. Did you go through and rank the applications? We have two applicants. We have Don Schauber,
Oh.
and
Talking about now.
the other one is Stuart Nash. And both are locals. And if you wanna wait a few minutes, we can certainly wait for Nicole to get back. If you have any thoughts or did any ranking, we can certainly start discussing it, whatever is your pleasure.
Oh, wait, Nicole gets back.
Can there be any public comments at this time?
Nope, we're just gonna wait a few minutes, although Brenda, you know, we have 5 minutes.
Just in case I get called out.
Absolutely, I think that's a good idea.
Just so everybody knows, this young lady who works for the state is doing a pledge for this little boy. He has a disease where he stops breathing at night. So she's doing the pledges to try to obtain a dog for him, keep it, you know, when he sleeps, he stops breathing. So she's gonna do a swim out of the lake on the 18th, tentatively. And swim the entire length of the lake and then back around. It's 70 miles. It'd be the longest freshwater swim. She'll break the world record. And you've got the site on there, and I gave you a copy, if you wouldn't mind putting something in the paper. So if anybody wants to come out and see her, or if you wanna go out with us on the boat,
Okay,
just get a hold of me.
okay.
But yeah, it's for a good cause, and she works for the state. She's actually like a CPS, I don't know, Child Protective Service worker, and that's how she got involved with this little boy, is through the state, not that he's in Child Protective, but to assist him. So, very worthwhile cause, and the
Absolutely.
little boy's from Helena, so locally, you know, so good cause. And I wanted to just double check with the commissioners to see if we'll do some training while we're out there, but we're also gonna have search and rescue out there. Lewis and Clark is gonna have search and rescue out there. They'll start in Lewis and Clark County, and she'll swim down. She starts like at 3 in the morning, and it'll take her about 48 hours, is what she's figuring. So
Wow.
you can't touch her the whole time she's in the water. She can't touch anything. They throw her water and food and on strings, actually. It's quite interesting. So, but yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting. So,
Absolutely, I have no problem with it. It is training, it is hopefully not rescue, but
Yeah.
you'll be there if that's needed. Franklin, you have any thoughts or?
Oh, that's fine.
And we've already had several citizens step up with their boats to assist shuttle people back and forth. The drivers of we've got one guy that donated a pontoon boat, so they're in need of other drivers for the pontoon boat in you know, different steps. And, you know, just, I think it's a good thing,
Absolutely it is.
so.
That's the kind of thing that brings a community
Yeah.
together, and that's always a good thing.
And we, you know, had people donate cabins and places to stay for the teams, so,
Excellent,
yeah.
excellent,
Brenda,
thank you.
The dog would alert,
A service dog, yeah, would alert him if he stopped breathing and wake him up.
oh,
Because right now, the way I read it, it's almost like he's on oxygen and some type of breathing machine while he sleeps.
Well, how much are they trying to raise, Brenda?
You know, they don't have that in there.
Be good to know. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have that
so
in
we
there.
get that maybe in the paper.
If you go on the site, it might have it, and I was on there once, but I don't remember.
The site, if anybody wants to write it down, it is donations for Carter through Emily's nonprofit foundation, www.enduringwaves.com. And from there you can find it all. There's also a blog. So,
People locals, do they contact the city commission
Yep.
here for
Yep,
donating
and-
or providing boats or
Yeah.
whatever like that?
oh,
Okay.
if you have
Is
questions.
this the gal that swam across Flathead Lake?
Yes.
Okay.
It is, and then she swam another lake here not too long ago, and swam over 60 miles, and it was a freshwater lake, but it wasn't in the United States. And I guess when they went out, they didn't have to worry about other boats approaching her, because it's so wavy that, so she probably swam way more than 60 miles, you know, because of the waves. And we said, well, you might have that out here too, it all depends on the weather. So,
Yeah.
but she's
And
really
When is
researched
this
it.
again?
The 18th is what they're planning on starting, so she'll swim the 18th and 19th and possibly part of the 20th, depending on,
That's Sunday?
Sunday.
yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, and she'll, like I said, start up in Lewis and Clark County, cause the water's colder up there, and swim this direction. Cause that was a huge issue with the last swim she did on the 60 miles, is she, got so cold, and it was cooler out. You know, and she had some medical issues after, because they didn't know what to do to prepare her after the swim. So now, we've got EMTs lined up to start IVs as soon as she gets out of the water to, you know, replenish her body after being in there for 48 hours. No wetsuit. She had a wetsuit on the last one, but our water's warm enough here. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Excellent,
We'll all
thank
be
you for bringing
cheering her on,
this.
so,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, very good.
Mhm.
All right, I am gonna call Nicole and see if she planned to come and join us. Hey, Nicole. Okay, no problem, thanks.
So, whatever works for you.
Okay. The planner deals the most with examining land surveyors, so we're just gonna give her a couple of seconds to walk down the hall. That's all right, not a problem. Actually, it works out really well, we were able to hear from Brenda. Yeah.
So I did not go through and score these because I didn't feel that it should have been something, I guess that I wanted to make the scoring on. So I don't know if the commission has gone through and scored their copies, or if this is something you've already done, or if you wanted to do here. If you wanted to talk about it while we go through it, it's up to you. I just know we wanted to revisit this issue, so.
Yes, yes. Yeah, did you do any scoring?
No.
Okay. We have an SOQ, a statement of proposal that has the, pretty much the job qualifications. Frankly, I tied these two. Both are very qualified, both have experience working for the county, both are well respected. I didn't see anything that jumped out. I wouldn't actually mind an interview
Oh, okay.
with them. And I wonder, how do you feel as planner as far as the time frame? Are we in a crunch as far as COS is coming up? Can we afford the time to interview these two gentlemen? This is very part-time contract work. It's not like we're hiring a full-time employee, in which case it's prudent to take the time.
Correct.
So what is your feeling on that?
You know, I think that, more than anything, I'm just glad we're moving forward on this. So, you know, if we have to schedule interviews for next week, I don't know if that allows the commission enough time or these gentlemen enough time, but I think it would be a really good idea to interview them. You know, I did not score them. That doesn't mean I didn't read over them. You know, I read over them. I wasn't comfortable providing my score, considering this is something that the commission is going to be contracting with this person, but, you know, I agree with you that they're both very qualified. So how do you choose one over the other? It's also difficult for me because I know the work they've done. I've worked with both of them personally, and so I kind of wanted to step back from it in that aspect as well. So, I think that interviews would be a great idea.
Do you have any opposition or comments on that, Franklin?
I kinda go along with what Nicole's saying there.
All right. You know, if we could do it, in the next week, that would be
You know,
great.
this week, if they both can come together, is this week, I know you're, on Wednesday, you're in Winston, but would you be, able to come to the courthouse, or is there a day this week that does not work for you?
You know, Wednesday's our regular meeting day, so the answer to that question is yes.
Okay,
But another day this week, Tuesday does not work for me.
okay.
And I think Thursday and Friday are open.
That seems good. If it would work out on Wednesday,
Just since you're already in town, it just seems, I mean, for both of you to make it
Yeah,
convenient for you as well.
or Thursday
Noon.
morning or all day Friday work for me
Okay,
as well, depending on what works for the gentleman.
okay. So I will, since this is a contract position, I guess, would I call them, or does Debbie need to call them? I don't wanna get into,
No, you could.
okay,
And she's working on the budget, so if you could,
Okay.
that would be great,
Okay.
just to take some load off of her.
okay,
And, yes.
I have to be in Bozeman on Wednesday.
okay.
Okay,
That's the only plans I got in my whole life is Bozeman on Wednesday.
do Thursday morning or Friday work for you?
That'd be fine.
Okay, coordinate that too with, Mr. Nash and
Okay.
go from there. Yeah. So I think, you know, I hate to call you in for something so short, but I think that's it.
Yeah,
Unless
I
there's
think
anything
that
else.
it's probably the best way to move forward on this, so. And no, I have nothing else.
All right, well, thank you, and thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
in for the application. It's really remarkable, the experience that both of you have.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You ready?
we're very lucky.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, and I will let you know, both know, what I.
yeah, I gotta check,
Okay,
I don't know if you can dig it, but I'll get back in touch with you too.
Okay, so just Thursday morning work for you? I mean, that seems to be the
I think so, if it's earlier in the morning
early.
probably. I gotta check for sure.
Okay,
but
I won't
double check.
schedule anything then until I hear from you, just because I don't wanna set it up with them and then if we have to change it, so.
Yeah, okay.
thank you. Thank you very much. All right, it is 2:10. Our next, is at 2:15, and that's COS review. My guess is we won't have anything there, but we will give them a chance if there is anyone coming. All right, we do have 6 minutes. John, did you have some quick public comment that you wanted to
Yes,
share?
I do.
All right.
In question about you and your husband talking about the relationship between the county and the city and doing repairs in the city proper.
Yes.
Do you know what this is called? It's called metro government. We have a constitutional form of government in this county, and that's actually forbidden. Take my tax dollars and give it to the city is forbidden. Now, why are we moving on in such these things? The other part about it is, you pledged to us one time, way back in the beginning, when you became the commissioner, that you would have no monetary dealings with your husband. This is monetary dealings, and it's incorrect. Now, would you like to comment on that?
No, I don't think it's necessary, but thank you, John. Oh,
What do you
one
mean you
question.
think it's not necessary?
What county is Townsend in? You have any ideas?
What's that?
What county is Townsend in?
That's pretty ignorant to ask me such a question. That means
You
I don't
have
know
the
where I'm
answer?
sitting.
Right. It's in Broadwater County, John.
Well, I hope it shall.
All right, thank you.
But
We
the
will,
county and the city are two different entities, totally. You are a commissioner, you're not a city commissioner.
Yep,
And you pledged to us that you would not do any monetary dealings with your husband. That is a fact. That makes,
thank you, John, that's enough. We
You think
will
that's
hear COS reviews in 5 minutes, and until then, we will have a year-end budget review at 2:30. And if we don't have a COS review, we'll just move that up so that we aren't just sitting here.
Was Nicole involved in the COS?
Not necessarily,
Oh.
no. No,
That's
she's the
right.
county planner.
Yeah, I know, but she was less, I know she had anything to do with this or not.
If she has a COS, she wouldn't have a COS, but if she's gonna represent one, she certainly could come in, or if there's one that she needs to answer questions about.
But
She can certainly
left,
come in.
I don't know if she's gonna be, she just left. She was having to come right back, or?
Right, but Nicole's not the one that generally brings COSs to us. She will accompany
Right.
somebody presenting a COS in case there's questions or she wants to add context.
But she'll probably know whether they're gonna be here or not.
She may, depending on who the surveyor is bringing it, but there is no guarantee that the,
Yeah, well, we only got just a few minutes, I guess.
we have people come from Bozeman, Helena, all over the state. It's not necessarily just somebody that has worked with Broadwater County before. So it's more of a courtesy to have that time for them. It is 2:15 and I don't see any COSs, so we'll go ahead and go to fiscal year in fiscal 13, year-end budget review, as These issues and times are subject to change. Did you get a chance to go through the paperwork that was in your mail?
Yes, I did
All right.
quickly.
Do you have anything that jumped out at you that you wanted to bring up?
Not right offhand. Okay, go ahead.
Do you have your paperwork?
No.
Okay, okay, well, I guess we can table this until next week. We'll just put some extra time and do the year-end budget review next week, and then we'll jump into new budget, next week as well. Okay,
I brought them back in.
I will just update you all, on a few things. We will be meeting with Doug next week regarding the, school funds and Puget Sound, settlement, 9-year, protested taxes. We have been working on the budget for quite some time now. It is well underway. Most of the departments are looking pretty strong. They ended the year with good solid cash balances. A few will need some attention, but really they are the minority. This year we have 5 mines in operation, so we will be getting Hard Rock Mine monies coming in. And we are members of the Hard Rock Mining Coalition with the Montana Association of Counties. Braemont has actually not been big enough, not generated enough income for us to actually be a member of the Hard Rock Mining Coalition. So this is something new for us, and this is, a lot of the mines are going after the tailings and pulling gold out of the tailings from about a century ago. Cash for all funds are in the positive except for Homeland Security, and that is a grant. We are working with state state DES on that right now. And valuations, just to let you know, that's what determines mill levies. They actually were estimated about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, by Lewis and Clark County's finance department to be 13.5 thousand per mill. The actual amount came in at 13.54, so they were really, really close. They use a formula. About half of the states determine their estimated mill values early so they can get going in the budget process rather than waiting until they have the solid numbers and only having 30 days. Doesn't give you a lot of time if something unforeseen happens or comes up. So we went up by about $500,000 for the overall valuation, and about 500 per mill. So that will help the budgeting this year. That does not mean that citizens or taxpayers are paying more. It means more people, property, businesses are paying in. So it actually is more money coming in for services, so increased services, but it's not taxpayers paying more. So it's I guess that's all I have as far as updates. Tim, did you have a question on the budget?
Yes, ma'am.
And state your name for the record.
Tim,
Ravendall, thank you.
you're welcome. You mentioned that there's a Homeland Security grant being worked on. What grant is that?
I
And what
don't
is it
know
for?
what it's for. We'll have to be, there's a couple of them.
Excuse me, who is administering that application process?
At this point, nobody, so we'll be working on that. So,
We will be, as in the commission?
possibly the new DES coordinator, interim, not new, excuse me, interim and temporary DES coordinator, possibly the commission as well. That is something we will have to wait and see. We've already spent the funds, this is a reimbursement, and so we should pursue $21,000.
Is this part of an EMPG grant program?
I don't know the details of the grant off the top of my head. I can certainly find them for you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure, anytime. Any other questions on the budget? Okay, Franklin, if you just go over your, paperwork, and if you have any questions before the meeting, you know, we have quite a few people that can help, and, we'll go over that, next week.
Okay.
So we have a 2:45, coming up, I guess until then, we can take some more public comment if anybody has any, or we can, just kinda do some homework. It's up to you guys. If there's any public comment, we'll certainly hear it now. Cheryl?
When you said that you'd be meeting with Doug next week concerning the school funds and the Puget Power, is that in a meeting, or is that will be in the commissioners' meeting?
Yep. And it'll be on the agenda for the time.
Okay.
Tim?
Chair, just kind of maybe follow up on my earlier question here. At what, where are you at with, you as in the commission, with the juncture on getting a temporary or deputy DES coordinator in Broadwater County? What did you find out in that process? Because last week you were looking into what would have to be done versus what you could do versus what you can't do.
We won't have a deputy DES coordinator because we do not have a senior DES coordinator right now.
Okay.
So what we can do is appoint an interim and temporary DES coordinator. And we will be dealing with that at 3 o'clock today. We have a letter, we have, job description, and, we will have, the person who has been, in name only, the deputy, Mike Conkey, coming to see us also at 3 o'clock. So, he has been involved, with DES, with LEPC, the local emergency planning, hello. So most definitely, we will be talking to him, and certainly anybody else who is qualified and interested, we will be speaking with them as well. And that was vetted, with the Mako chief legal staff.
Do you know if, just on a side note, do you know if Mike is still tied up with fire services in Twin Bridges?
Twin Bridges, I don't know, the Spokane fire, if that's the one you're referring to, he is back from that. So we did meet, this week.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, and the LEP, or the EOP that you were looking at, the resolution is right in the front cover. I didn't bring it, I didn't know you'd be here today.
Yeah, I saw the resolution.
Yeah.
I noticed that particular copy had county signatures on it, but no city signatures, so I went to the city to see what they had, and theirs was the same as this one.
Exactly,
Oh.
as well you can expect. And you'll find that every department's is the same as well. It was one plan for the community as a whole. And we are in public comment, right now. We have a 2:45, and until then, we kinda have some dead air. So if you guys have any public comment you'd like to voice, that's absolutely fine. And if anyone else has any. Well, one of the things that we'll need to be addressing, Franklin, is if we do appoint an interim and temporary DES coordinator, what will we be paying them? Our previous DES coordinator was at half-time. Do we want to keep this at half-time? And what would be our proposed salary?
Yeah, I don't know if we need halftime, I kinda tossed around, I don't think a couple days a week probably, and then on call for And that's where the salary have to be figured out if there's an incident.
We'd have to look at an hourly salary,
Right.
0.54 FTE at 24.17 an hour is what the DES coordinator was paid.
How much?
24.17 per hour for 0.54 at full-time. So these are things we'll have to look at. But the time to address this is probably not after an emergency hits.
Oh,
it's-
no, we'll get that, the wage, you bet that have to be figured out.
Well, and the time to address the DES,
Right.
interim and temporary
But,
position.
myself, I don't think you'd have to be half-time. And the thing is,
As
with
far as
that
the,
little provision there that when it happens,
and
they
the,
they might be on 4 or 5 days straight, or you never know just how those things happen.
that'll be something as far as the hours that we might have to talk to them about.
That's right.
But what we'll have to come up with is what our proposed hourly rate is. Thank goodness, our 2:45 is here early. We have dead air, and our agenda is subject to change at any time without notice per the published agenda. Are you ready, or would you like to
Sure.
wait till 2:45?
That's fine.
All right. We have Kyle Hobstead, BHC Broadwater Health Center, prescription drug plan support.
Hello, everybody.
Hello
How are
again.
you doing today?
Good.
Really what I'm asking now is pass this out for all of you to look at. It's just verification that we're open for business and that we care for the indigent. And we need the county to sign off on that to allow us to work with a project called the 340B program, which allows incredible discounts to indigents. And we're in the process of working with the local pharmacy to put this together. That's basically what I'm asking for. It doesn't cost us or anybody any money. There is an opportunity actually to gain revenues because this program essentially is open to all people who have insurance as well. And so if insured people use it, there's a chance that there would be a residual effect back to the hospital. There are critical care access hospitals all over the country that have signed up for this and are doing pretty well and improved access at low cost medications for the low income or indigent. So it's kind of that simple, just to verify that we're open for business for all comers and willing to care for those who are indigent. We have to do that anyhow, but we just need a formalization from the commissioners on that. That's
Just a quick question, you take like a senior citizen, fixed income, and they're having trouble with their prescriptions, would they chances are qualify for it, or?
yeah, it's a qualification process, yes.
Good deal, that's
All right.
Here's an in-depth PowerPoint that I'm sure you may or may not want to take a look at, but the first handout sort of summarizes it very quickly. But the lease essentially says that's what we gotta do. The Medicare agreement that we fall under, we've gotta give indigent care. This just provides a lot lower cost for indigents down the road.
All right. Tim, you have a
Yes.
question?
I do
State your
have
name
a
for the record.
question, Tim. I would like to know if you have any summary that you could possibly give us on where the funding comes from in this 340B program to offset those costs, for example, for our local pharmacy.
It's government funding,
Yes, where
it
does it
comes
come
from the feds.
Where?
I think it's through the HRSA division. Yep.
And I'm not good on acronyms, so you'll have to help me out there.
There you go. That pretty well explains it. But, this is a program that's really been successful everywhere for community health centers, for critical access hospitals throughout the country. And we would, our people would be eligible if the commissioners sign off on this, probably by December.
Okay. Just a quick follow-up, Madam Chair. The funding source, do you have any estimates on what kind of money comes into traditionally into Broadwater County from this source to offset these costs?
Currently, there isn't, this isn't
Or just
available.
brand new?
Yeah, brand new.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
So we don't
wondering.
know how, we'll have to encourage all comers in the community to take a look at it and use it. And if they don't use it, then it's not used.
Thank you. I'll do one last comment, Madam Chair.
Sure.
I guess since it's a brand new program, it is taxpayer dollars. I'd like to have the commission make sure that you take a close look at it before jumping into what it is and adopting it. Thank you.
One of the things that people don't understand often is those with us with insurances negotiate rates with hospitals, and so you get a break if you have insurance. If you don't have insurance, you don't have that negotiator. Not only does that care fall on the backs of taxpayers, but it also falls on the backs of the people without insurance, and they pay full price without any negotiated rates. That is true of prescription drugs as well. If this is going to save some of our residents who have a fixed income, if it's going to save some of our residents who make the lowest amount for the work that they do, and the county has put on the hospital that you must provide care, not just in the ER, which we have nothing to do with, but the rest of your facility, we're already in partnership with you on taking care of the people who cannot pay their bills or are paying the highest rates. If we can provide some kind of assistance for them, a break for them, then it is a responsible decision for this commission.
In checking with other hospitals and counties that have approved this, there's actually some pretty good residual that comes back to the local hospital by sponsoring this process. So, I just would encourage you to verify what that says, that we are open for business, and yes, you verify that. And then it's a process of working through with the local pharmacy and maybe even other pharmacies, but basically focused right here.
And I do want to address something to you, Tim. When we get the agenda, there's different items on there. We get our mail, and we have a whole week to do research, to make phone calls, to ask questions. This is not something that's just come to us out of the blue. We've been sitting on this for a week to come here and be able to address it without having to wait and postpone.
Just for the record, Madam Chair, I have a copy here of the agenda that was published, and to my knowledge, there hasn't been a revised agenda, and this isn't on the agenda.
There was a revised agenda, and we spoke to that at the beginning of today's meeting.
Okay.
It was posted in 3 public places,
All right,
and this is on
I'm
that.
sitting corrected. If there was a revised, didn't know about it. That's why I'm asking questions.
All right, and we did spell out Montana Business Assistance Connection at your request.
Thank you.
Yep. So, Franklin, do you have any, do you want to go ahead and give our support to the hospital on this? Or do you want to do otherwise?
Well, I'm in favor of giving the, now, I assume the hospital works with the drugstores and the pharmacies, I mean.
Absolutely.
So all we do is just give our support to actually,
Really, all you do is verify that in that what's said there, that we give free care and plenty of it, and we're knocking on your door for some help in that regard already, and that in working with the local pharmacy, we might be able to actually access more medications at much less cost for
Maybe you said that residual coming back to the hospital. How would that be?
Well, because we are sponsoring this process, we'll get some residual back on dollars that are paid by the insured payer, would come back to us.
Okay. I have any other question?
Okay, did you, do you want to table this, or do you wanna make a motion that we, put in writing, our signature, that we are acknowledging the hospital takes charity care?
I think we can, yes, go to that in form of a motion that we'll, we acknowledge the hospital is doing care.
And sign the,
Yeah, I don't think there's a place for us to sign, is there?
Yep.
there is
Where is it?
certificate,
Right here. In the local government official, please print and sign.
Oh, okay, so you're just the chairman.
Mhm. Right, so, I will second your motion, and, it's been moved and seconded that we sign the certificate of contract between private nonprofit hospital, state and local government to provide health care services to low-income individuals. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. And Kyle, if I just do the, government part, do you wanna fill in the rest,
Sure.
or take
Do
it?
it.
Okay. I'm gonna steal this from you, Franklin, I made a mistake.
That works. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back again for the quarterly report, if not sooner.
Sounds good. All right,
All right.
thank you. Right, we are still ahead of schedule. This is just a proposal I typed for the 3 o'clock, and certainly if you want to make any changes, we can do that. And it's just following a letter from Mike Saystat, so it's not my language. Just put in under our letterhead.
Yeah. That is type of, three. Well, I guess it doesn't say here.
No, it's on the agenda.
Do we assign this? Or not?
No, we haven't met with anyone on this subject yet. That'll happen at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but you don't wanna sign it ahead of time.
No,
That's-
no,
this is
everything that
okay.
we sign should have a vote attached to it.
Yeah, this is just a, okay.
It's just a proposal and laying out the ground rules. We're in a holding pattern.
That's what I figured. I was just checking to make sure the camera was still rolling.
Yeah,
We're good.
thanks, Jake.
Quiet.
All three temples are hosting this. This is when we meet with the officers and business meetings. Meet with Bridgewater next. This is right now, that's when that's planned. I think we move forward. I'm trying to convince him to. See, travel that day, meet that day, and maybe fly home that night, or vice versa. So, they're close.
All right, we are at 10 to 3. We're running a little bit early, Mike. Mike, would you like to come on up? Jonathan, do you want to come up as well?
Sure.
This will be a great opportunity to introduce the two of you as well. Mike Conkey has been assisting.
Conky, how you doing?
He was assisting Bill Flyner, who is our DES coordinator, still is. And Jonathan is a colonel with the National Guard and has been their DES coordinator.
Oh,
And he
okay.
came to see us during public comment last Monday and just really educated us on the importance of a DES coordinator. And also presented his resume at the time, which is outstanding. What we had done, just in the interest of full disclosure for you, is we did ask Mike early on if he would serve as the acting or interim temporary DES coordinator, and at the time he had said no. And he was working on a fire at the time, has just returned. And the sheriff had said she would, but of course, in an emergency, as you educated us last week, she'd be working the emergency, not able to do DES coordination. So, there was an ad in the paper, the IR, and, we received a call from you, as well as, Jefferson County's DES coordinator said, if you guys want, I can work for both counties and I can come and help you guys out. So, thanks to that article, we got some really good feedback. Mike and I had a conversation last week, and, he is interested in serving as the interim temporary DES coordinator. And, we can certainly discuss this, but I do think he is a good fit just because, not just because, you've done a great job. He wrote the EOP. He has been heavily involved with, LEPC meetings. He knows all the players. He used to be the DES coordinator for Broadwater County, as I understand,
Right,
before my
back in,
time.
November of 1996 through February of 2001.
A good long time. Yeah, so, that's why we're here, is actually to address, legally, we can go ahead and get somebody in this position right away. Again, the time to have a DES coordinator working and, coordinating everybody is not after an emergency hits, it's before, so that you know how to work together, you know who the players are, you know who your assets are and what they do. So, Franklin, do you have any input at this time?
Well, I've known Mike when he worked in DES and through the sheriff's department, worked with him and stuff, so I know the thing about it, he knows the area, he knows the real good, so, and I just was looking at Hannity this, I guess it was a day or two ago, this wildfire incident response guide. That was, I went through kind of fast, but I thought you did a good job on that.
I have an update for the commission when we get to that.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, Jonathan, this is temporary interim. If it comes to that, I don't know what the future holds. We would have to, by law, open the position up for anyone and everyone to apply. And again, I don't know what the future holds, but please keep us in your thoughts, and if we could, lean on you for support in the future, that would be great.
Sure.
All right.
No, I have no problem with that, that's fine. I didn't know what the future held, I wasn't aware of Mike, and absolutely not anywhere am I trying to, step in and over a very qualified individual based on what you're saying, and that's great, that's what Broadwater County needs, so, that's, if I can ever be of assistance, I'd be there, but that's fine.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you for last week. I think that was invaluable and very
You
much
bet.
what we needed.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yes, thank you
You
very
betcha.
much. And you're welcome to stay if you like. It's totally up to you.
That's okay.
All right.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. So we chatted with Mike Saystat this week with Mako, and he said that based on our situation, the fact that we are extremely dry, the fact that we do have potential emergencies, we did have that fire already, that we can appoint an interim temporary DES coordinator. And I wrote just a letter, it's Mike's language, not mine, but if you are agreeable to that, we could actually appoint you today, if that works for you, and Franklin is agreeable as well.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, do you have a copy of that you look at?
If you want to look at Franklin's, I don't have one for myself, but I remember what it says, and I have Mike's letter, so you're welcome to look at it. I will need it back if we do go forward, so that there's two originals.
Sure, that's fine. And you would notify Montana DES?
Yes, yep. And we do have, we can discuss and agree on a salary and hours. What do you think as far as hours? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, it's kind of up to the commission. I think the position now is half-time, I believe.
0.54, yeah. Here's the job description too. And
Okay.
you can tweak that, make it fit, what your vision is.
Okay. I talked to Debbie Kelly upstairs. And she had already given me a copy of this earlier. This is actually for a deputy DES coordinator. position. But I think it's a good start, really is. I think we need to formalize it perhaps at your next meeting. In the interim, we can put together something very rough and see if the commission would have to approve it. And it would be, you know, whatever the commission thinks is best.
You and Debbie are gonna do this,
Well,
or you would?
I think Debbie and I would start with that,
Mhm.
and then we'd give a draft copy to the commission, and the commission would adjust it according to what you feel is necessary and approve it, like you would any other job description in the county, I think. I don't know, I'd have to look into funding the emergency management performance grant, EMPG grant, and see if we have that still available for DES position. I have to check with, probably somebody in Montana DES. I would assume it would still be paid half federal funding and half out-of-county funds. That's what I would assume, but I couldn't tell you. I haven't talked to them about it.
Okay.
Now, you'll check on this then?
I sure will if you want me to.
Thank you.
If you want me to, absolutely. It's part of my
Okay.
job description.
Yeah, I think it should be both of us.
Oh, okay.
Since we're appointing you, I think it would have more credibility to come from those appointing you to
Sure,
start.
absolutely.
And then follow up. We'll hand the ball to you.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
It's what the commission wants. You know, after I work for you, and you guys represent or elected by the citizens. You're accountable to them, and I'm accountable to you.
All right. As far as the job description, Mike, I'm wondering, Debbie's working on the budget. She's
Okay.
HR, she's payrolling now, she's finance officer, interim and temporary. Could you work with us
Sure,
on this?
absolutely.
Okay, all right. I don't think it'll be that hard, and we can have Debbie tweak it, but I'd like to, take as much off her shoulders right now, at least for this month, with the budget as possible. She
Okay.
and Doug have both, they're going through their first budget season right now, so, whatever we can do to just let them concentrate on those numbers, I think is
It's a big
best.
time of year for them right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
all right, thanks.
Go ahead.
As far as, pay, if we have a solid proposal for you for next week,
Sure.
would that be fair for you?
Yeah,
And
we
then we'll-
exchange emails,
Yeah,
and same with the draft job description.
okay,
Exchange emails, we can share it with the public if you want to.
absolutely. Would you be okay if we went ahead and tweak this and then
Sure.
sent you a draft and?
Oh, yeah, that'd be swell.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right,
Very good.
excellent. Any thoughts, Franklin?
No, I guess actually now, he could, say, an hour from now, we had a big fire or emergency, he could take over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, knowing Mike, he would have anyway.
Well, we already worked on some of this stuff. I figured for you. But,
We do have a quick question. Is this on the topic, Tim?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, Madam Chair. I was at a meeting this morning, and under the EMPG grant program, the process right now, the application deadlines for the 2013-2014 fiscal year, as we're looking at, ends on August 31st, which gives us, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks. There is a meeting in Lewistown on Wednesday of this week, where the state DES is going to give DES coordinators a full briefing on what is going on with the EMPG grant programs as well as Homeland Security. And from what I heard at the meeting this morning, there's a possibility that deadline for applying for those grants may be extended, because this meeting is the first one that they've had from the state level in quite a while, so it's kind of like going to be brought to the front for discussion to extend that deadline, avoiding counties like ours that can have a little more time to put together the package and the grant program process, because it does take time. So I just wanted to share that with you folks. The crunch time right now for grant applications is the end of this month, and so.
okay. I'll let the commission take the lead on that, and then whenever I'll follow up on that.
okay, all right. Thank you very much. Mr. Thompson?
Thank you, Don Thompson again. With respect With respect to your decision to appoint Mike to the DES position, I've had the pleasure of working with Mike for the past few years. I think 2 points I want to make. Number one, I think you just made a very good decision. More importantly, I think you just made the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Don.
All right, before we proceed, I think we should go ahead and solidify this decision and put it in the form of a motion. You know what, I'm gonna give you one, Ann. Oh,
I have lots more.
I wanna keep one for Elaine. That's all right, it's a good stretch. Now I don't have to do yoga. I break my neck doing it.
I'll, make a motion that we appoint Mike Conkey as acting DES coordinator. As of now, today, this time. Like I said, basically, I said, cause we'll negotiate this, salary and that stuff. Maybe just have, we have a motion appointing this acting.
I'm gonna make a friendly amendment to your motion, that we term it, the legal term of temporary and interim DES coordinator.
Didn't I say that?
You said acting. It's
Oh.
semantics, but I think for legal purposes, it's important to
okay.
follow the lawyer's advice. So with that, I will second it. It's been made, moved and seconded to appoint Mike Conkey as the temporary interim DES coordinator for Broadwater County. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. And it's in the letter, Mike, which we will go ahead and sign and give to you, but Mike Saystad suggested that we make this declaration in public. This is for a temporary period of time, not to exceed 1 year. Indicate the employment may be terminated at any time with or without cause, and will terminate in any event upon the happening of any future events. One, the return of the current DES coordinator, the employment of a permanent DES coordinator, or the expiration of the 1 year from date of hire. So, thank you very much.
Well, thank you
for everything you've done. Absolutely. If you'd hand me that, we'll go ahead and give Mike a copy, and then we'll keep a copy for our records here, Franklin. And if you'd sign it as well.
I like the wages.
Yeah, you guys work that out. I'm happy. You can pass these out.
Oh, the same thing?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
practically. I'll explain it in just a second. That's for public. Oh, I had worked with the commissioners briefly on a wildfire incident response guide for Broadwater County. Yellow copy has telephone numbers, cell phone numbers for firefighters, as well as some public officials. They're private telephone numbers. The copies that I'm giving to the public do not have those cell numbers. Other than that, it's the exact same thing. And the reason for that is some of those firefighters have private numbers were not authorized. We'd have to have permission from each firefighter to do that. But you'll see there where they're on page 3 where they're deducted. This is just something to give to all the emergency vehicles, firefighters, law enforcement, and anybody that participates with this. It's a size-up report. We're going to use the red channel. I worked with Sheriff Brenda. I've also worked with Ed Shandell to put this together. Briefly, it talks about the Broadwater Rural Fire District, the Helena Fire Desk. On the next page, we talk about the Ranger District and the Three Forks Rural Fire District. And then our paramount responsibility or mission is life safety and the risk management policy the fire department has for all emergency services. This stuff comes out of the county emergency operations plan. We have common communication responsibilities and then leaders intent. On page 3 is the telephone numbers, contact list, as well as the firefighters, the different stations, battalion chiefs they call them. And then on page 4 is the wildfire evacuation guidance, which has been approved about 3 years ago through the local emergency planning committee process, which is also part of our emergency operations plan. And I just take that out and put it in here so it's refreshing for those that are out there responding, emergency responders. On page 7, there's just a general evacuation checklist. And then on page 9 and 10 are radio quick guide with some identification of the radio frequencies and then the different people like Ed Chandal, radio frequency 800 and stuff. And on the last page, I don't think the public has that. That's a frequency. That's a wildfire incident radio communications plan. And I did not give that to the public because it has some frequencies there. You have to get that from each agency. Some of the frequencies are licensed to the county. Some of the frequencies are licensed to the rural fire district. Some are licensed to Montana DERF and Montana Department of Natural Resources. So I did not include that to the public. That's just a guide. And that's, just want to make sure everybody has it. And the other thing I'm going to hand out to commissioners is a draft emergency declaration in case we do have a wildfire. And on the back of it is all the state statutes. The public can have copies of that if you want to. And that's just a draft. I'll send the commissioners in a Word document so they can put in the date and the location where the fire is. And it's just something that most of DES coordinators use. And on the last page, page 2, I have the different Montana code annotations printed out that this document refers to, or some of these codes refer to fishing game and stuff like that. Just a tool. I'll get a copy to the county attorney to look at. In case we do have a wildfire, the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners or the mayor can declare a state of emergency and give the sheriff authority to do an evacuation. Any questions, Commissioner? Members of the public? That's all I got. Get lights. Been here all
I
day.
appreciate this very much.
Sorry I'm late. I thought it was 3 o'clock.
It is 3 o'clock, we were just early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's unusual.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
this group.
No, I have to tell you, Mike, I feel tremendously better knowing that we're in good hands, so thank you,
And thank you very much.
you bet.
Anybody have any questions? I'll be outside.
This is your likeness.
Can I get one of these?
Yeah, yep,
Thank you.
thank you
We'll be in
very
touch.
much, yes, we will. All right, it is 8 after 3, we are done with our agenda. Is there any further public comment? Any further public comment? Ask one more time, any further public comment? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great afternoon.